Hello my fellow Christian fiction lovers, welcome to another video. Today I am going to be reviewing Is It Any Wonder by Courtney Walsh. I just recently finished this book. This was the first Courtney Walsh book that I've read, and I've kind of like seen her and her works, or her books, just kind of floating around the Christian book world for a while now, and I decided to pick one up and give it a try, because she does seem very popular. But anyway, I did enjoy it. I gave it 3.5 stars, I think. And I just want to go ahead and talk about it with y'all. So basically the plot of this book is we are following two characters, Cody Boggs and Louisa Chambers. And they were childhood best friends. Their families, like when they were kids, were super close. And they ended up dating like right before, or like I guess their senior year of high school, and then something happened and they broke up, and their families ended up hating each other because Cody's father died. He drowned, and it's this whole like tangled web of events of the one family blaming the other family, and it's all the events are connected, but I don't want to give it away because it does come out through the story how it's all connected. But anyway, so that happened 12 years ago, and now we're in the present, and Louisa has moved back to Nantucket, which is where their families would go every summer, and she has her own business, like I guess kind of a event coordination, like party planning type of business with her best friend. And then Cody has joined the Coast Guard. Yeah, he joined the Coast Guard and he was stationed in Nantucket. And we open, the first like 2 chapters is Louisa out paddleboarding, and there's this big storm that comes up and she almost drowns, but Cody ends up saving her, and that is how they are reunited. And then they end up working together because the Coast Guard hires Louisa's business to kind of help their morale, like get up their morale within the city. That's kind of the story. It's a very interesting premise, and I wasn't entirely sure like where it was going when Cody first saved her, and then it was like, okay, they don't want to speak again, but then the Coast Guard like hired her business, and that made sense how they were going to interact again. And you know, it's a second chance romance. They're both like battling their feelings for each other because they're like, oh no, like all of this drama happened 12 years ago, and they don't want to like get back into it, but they both are like harboring these feelings and they can't talk about it. And so it's very interesting how they come across to one another. As characters, they are both very well written. Like I got a sense of who their whole person and personality was very early on, especially Louisa. I like figured her out very early on, like just who she was, or like who she is in the book. And that made it helpful. It's always good to have well-written characters. Cody, he was interesting to read because he presents himself one way to the general public and Louisa, as kind of this just like, he doesn't talk a lot, he doesn't show emotions, he kind of honestly looks grumpy or bored most of the time. But when we're reading the chapters from his perspective, we're getting all of these thoughts, all of this dialogue on what's really going on inside of him, what he's really thinking, what he's really feeling, and none of that, like he betrays none of that to, or portrays I guess, to anyone around him. It's just so interesting because like I couldn't get a good read on him at first. I had to like read a bit from his perspective to really understand him. Whereas Louisa, she kind of wears her heart on her sleeve. She just goes about her business very cheery, very upfront with people. She doesn't hide a lot, and Cody is the exact opposite. So, you know, I was getting to learn about who Louisa was from her perspective and from Cody's, whereas with Cody, I didn't truly understand his character right away. I don't know if that makes sense. It's just kind of my thoughts on reading the two of them. Their like second chance romance of them getting to know each other again it didn't go the way I thought it would, but I was very pleased with how it did go. Also, their like character development, I wouldn't say there was a ton of character development. It mostly happened with their relationship and like how they got along with one another. There wasn't a ton of There was some individual character development. There was some, but it mostly had to do with how they interacted with one another. So that's the characters and the plot. I mean, the plot moved pretty steadily. It was a good mix of the characters moving the plot along and just events happening to move the plot along. There weren't really any plot twists. I guess there was kind of one at the end, but I did kind of see it coming, dealing with one of the side character who was very important to both of them. You should know who it is if you know the book. But anyway, so that's the characters and the plot. The faith element in this book is definitely there. This one character that was important to both of them, her name is Maggie. She's this like older woman who kind of like was like a second mother to both of them. And her faith, her relationship with God was very important to her. She talked about prayer a lot. She talked about just like looking to the Lord as the answer to your problems. It was really good. So definitely there is a faith element. Louisa does kind of get back into the habit of praying throughout the book. I am going to be honest, I don't remember with Cody. I know he has a relationship with the Lord, but I cannot think of like specific instances in the book like reading about it. I'm sure there were, they're just not coming to mind like right away. But yeah, so definitely a Christian fiction book. Probably it's definitely more of like a love story than like a Christian love story, but if you are looking for that faith element, it is in the book. So I think that is about it. I would definitely read something from Courtney Walsh again. I thought her writing was very, I'm trying to think of the right word, but just almost interactive in the way that, like, especially when I was reading from Louisa's perspective, I just really felt like I was her friend and she was talking to a friend, because the way it was written, it was just really good. So I would definitely read another Courtney Walsh book again. If you have recommendations of Courtney Walsh books that you think I should read, leave them in the comments. But this book, I'm trying to remember when it was published. It was published in 2020, so it's not new, but it's newer. So I think she has another book out, one or two more books out since then. But let me know your thoughts if you've read this book, if you want to read this book, your plans with Is It Any Wonder by Courtney Walsh. Let me know in the comments, and thank you so much for watching this video. If you liked it, don't forget to give it a like, and if you want to see more content like this, go ahead and subscribe, and I will see you in my next video. Until then, bye!